Today's an absolute shocker of a day, weather-wise. Yesterday was pretty bad. Yesterday was in the mid-30s, but it wasn't too windy. But look at this. You can tell by my flag how windy it is. And you can tell by the way the bike's positioned which way I'm going. So, straight into a very strong headwind. But all is not lost. I got out of bed at 4 o'clock. It was already broad daylight. By 4:30 I had packed my bags, packed my panniers and was on the road. It's now 7 in the morning. I've had breakfast. I'm almost halfway to Kawaii. It's only a short day, only 35, 37 kilometres, something like that. But I'll show you what else I found on this quiet country road at 7 in the morning. A little countryside shrine. Has the Torii gate in front. That's how you know it's a shrine, apart from the fact that it's called a shrine. Lots of red. It's up on a stone base. I have no idea what's inside. Bound to be something. There's a stele next to it. Yeah. When you take the small roads, these are the sorts of things you find. I've just spent an hour pushing and struggling my way up this hillside. It wasn't too steep, it was really only 3%, but it just went on forever. Parts of it were 5%, and I even managed to cycle up those, but the problem was the distance overall. But anyway, I eventually got up to the pass, and then there's this beautiful road all the way down. I'm going to really enjoy going down this. Take it nice and slowly and savour every second of it. Before I start that, there's the view. Over there, with the white stuff coming down, is Mount Io. I think that white stuff is sulphur, something like that. And there are all these tiny little springs bubbling up from the ground underneath. I've rounded a few more corners, got a bit closer, and I'll zoom in. There you go, that's how you move mountains. I just pulled over into a car park on the side of the road to brush my teeth because I'm coming into town and wanted to freshen up a little bit. And spat out my toothpaste. There's a few drops. And then I saw this little critter. And I wonder what he is. Not moving. Could it be a cicada? I can sort of hear cicada noises in amongst the traffic. This is one of the reasons I love Japan so much. The landscape is so alive and exciting. Apparently there are 1,500 vents. They're called fumaroles in Mount Io. Most of them are probably directly in front. It absolutely stinks of sulphur here. This stuff used to be mined and sent all around the world. Used for making matches, and I can't remember what else. Probably all sorts of things that explode. There's even hot steam coming out of little cracks in the ground like this. This is the road that I've just come down on. It's another beautiful sunny morning. It's going to be stinking hot later though. I've started a new idea of, well, it's not such a new idea, but I've got back into the routine of getting up quite early in the morning and doing all my cycling before lunchtime, so that in the heat of the day I can sit in a cafe somewhere and chill. Anyway, I'm cycling along a lake. This is Lake Kushiro, and I'm going to go down these steps and get a proper look. Lake Kushiro is a crater lake. You can see the rim of the volcano all around. And not only is it a crater lake and a home for all sorts of native wildlife, it's also a home for a mythical monster, Japan's version of the Loch Ness monster. Somewhere in there, somewhere in the deep, lurks a monster waiting to snap up unfortunate tourists. It's lovely and placid in the morning. There's the monster. Somebody's obviously seen him and painted him true to life. And the owl is there to say, yes, this is true, because owls know everything. Of course, I'm always a bit sceptical about these things, but then I came around the corner. My goodness, there he is. They've caught him. Stuck him behind a fence, pink ribbon around the neck, there for all eternity. So anyway, Lake Kushiro has an island in the middle with lovely white cliffs, has music in the background, and down further to the south is a peninsula called the Hokkaido Peninsula, and that's where I'm going to stay tonight. And I plan to go swimming this afternoon. There'll be no sitting in a cafe getting away from the heat. Swimming's on the agenda. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The clouds are beginning to come over. Even so, the water's very peaceful. I'm actually on the Hokkaido Peninsula. It's a very narrow peninsula. That's one side. And there's the other side. The wind's coming from the south, so the water on that south side is much rougher. And just behind those trees is a natural hot spring. It's really hot water. I'd love to go up close and video it, but there's a couple of naked men in there. That's a lovely sound, the lapping of the water and the cicadas in the background. Anyway, there's a 2.5 kilometre walk around the peninsula. I'm going to go on it, see what I can find. And into the forest we go. The campground chap said there are no bears here, of which I'm very happy. It seems that we've come to a lookout point. Yeah, there's the lake. There's the island in the middle. So I've sat here for half an hour looking for Kushi, the Lake Kushiro monster. Haven't seen her. But what I have seen, if this monster is actually in the water, it must like really hot water, because down there there's a whole lot of steam coming out of the ground. And I've noticed that there's hardly any vegetation down there. And look along the cliff over here. That's why the cliffs on the other side of the island look so white. It must be that it's so hot that nothing can grow there. Look at all that steam. You can probably boil a chook in that. I have to say, cycling along here, it's heaven on a stick. It really is. Apart from the lumps and bumps, but you know, steer around those. Ugh, when I'm not filming, that is. There are 3 cranes in the paddock over there. These are the ones, I think these are the red-capped or red-crowned cranes. Every now and then they start calling and making a big racket. This is Lake Toro. This is the start of the wetland area. Japan's biggest wetland. Goes all the way from here down to Kushiro. I'm camped here on the shores of Lake Takobu, which is in the Kushiro Shitsugen National Park. We're about 20 kilometres north of Kushiro. Being wetlands, of course, there are lots of lakes and marshy, swampy areas, and this is quite a beautiful little lake here. I arrived here mid-morning. I only cycled 10 kilometres from the last place, and I'm going to spend the day here and stay overnight, just enjoying this beautiful place before I hit Kushiro. This is the campground. My neighbours. And there's my tent and the bike and the chair, and I've been sitting in that chair for the last hour or so just watching the bees as they're buzzing around and the dragonflies. The insect life here is amazing because Hokkaido being such a cold place with such long winters, the insect life all has to really get their skates on over summer to get everything done that they need to. So they're all really, really, really busy. Busy bees. This is a nice little walk along the sides of the wetland. Lots of ferns around, lots of bugs. Of course there's bugs. Look how much water there is. And that's what a wetland is. Water, ferns, bugs. Here the trees have opened up a lot more of the undergrowth. But it still boils down to water, ferns, bugs. And just over there are two red-capped, the birds. In fact, I think there's three of them. No, there are only two. They've gone into that bush somewhere. Can't see them anymore. So, I don't know where I'm going, but I'm almost halfway there. There's an information board. I can't read any of it. Problem is that Google Translate doesn't work if there's no internet. There's a map, and I reckon I'm going to a lookout point. I think I started here. That hut, I saw that before. That's where we knew we were almost halfway. That's where we are now, and that's where we're going. And I keep being bitten. Every time the picture shakes, it's because I'm kicking away some sort of insect. They all bite, every single one of them. As well as bugs, sometimes you get these interesting looking things. Mushrooms of some sort. Well, I've made it to the top. There's another information board, all in Japanese, showing river, lake, railway line, and more information. I saw one of those squirrels last year. Anyway, the view from the lookout. There's the river. Now you can see the railway line. There was a train on there just before I came up, but I wasn't here in time to see it go across. And there's the lake, which I'm camped next to.